Next on our list was the topic of bad fats. What do we mean by bad fats? Certainly, sometimes we think too simplistically, saturated fats versus non-saturated fats. That's not really fully accurate. We have fats that are absolutely vital to our lives. They're called essential fats. So let's talk about those right here. Look, when you take physiology, you learn that there are essential fatty acids. Why do you think science calls them essential fatty acids?
Because they're needed for the body.
Because they're essential. I know. You would think everyone would get this. Obviously they don't. All right. So why do we need good fats? Well, 70+% of our brain is fat. You need fat. Fat's your insulator. Fat's your protector. Fat is like the packing peanuts that protects your internal organs. You need good fats, and you need them in the right ratio. So what do we say? Perversions. What are the perversions? Trans fats and hydrogenated fats. Okay? Those are perversions. A trans fat is where we've broke the molecular bonds in the fat to change its structure. What does that look like? Browning things in butter. You had this healthy, wonderful butter, and when it turned brown in the pan, those are now trans fats. Okay? What are hydrogenated fats? Hydrogenated fats are where what we've done is we've mechanically changed the structure of the fat. When I was a kid, we'd get fresh milk from the local dairy farmer, and you'd let it sit on the counter for a day or two, and you ladled off the cream. Anyone remember doing that? And you ladled off the cream, and then because we're modern people, Mom would pour that in the old Oster blender with a pinch of salt and hit play. And it would turn into butter. Right? So you didn't churn it. We use bzzz, right? Yeah, you can churn it. I mean, same thing. You could shake it in a jar if you want, right? You could whip it. You could whip your heavy cream and turn it into whipped cream. Right? If you go too far, it'll turn into butter.
That's correct.
Right? So what are you doing? You're changing the molecular structure, so instead of being in a pool, it's in a meringue. Or instead of being in a liquid, it turns into a semi-solid, depending on the room temperature. Make sense? So that's why these things are perversions. That for thousands and thousands of years our body consumed them in one state, and now in a modern world we're consuming them in a totally unnatural state, and our bodies can kind of deal with them but not very efficiently every day forever. Make sense? Alright. What are adulterated fats? Adulterated fats are overtly burnt fats. Right? That's the a.g.e.s. Advanced Glycalization in Products is what that stands for. Why? Because it ages you. It literally causes accelerated aging in all of the tissues of your body. So eating smoked ribs every day is not going to play out well for you for very long. And by the way, do I like smoked ribs? I got 2 big old racks in my freezer, baby. After the cleanse, game on, man. So just so you know, I detox to retox, right? But I'm not kidding myself. I'm not trading up. I'm not trading up. I'm still causing damage when I cheat. I'm still causing damage. And you have to accept that. You have to say, hey, I'm going to accept a little bit of damage here. And then you better have some kind of plan to offset it. Right? You got to have a plan to offset it. Sooner or later, man, God calls in the markers. Right? The Jews were in sin for 70 years. They didn't let the land go fallow at least once every 7 years. And what did he say? You now owe me 490 years. Welcome to Babylon. And maybe that's literal and maybe it's metaphorical. I think it's useful both ways. I think it's useful as a metaphor for letting us understand that we can't cheat this stuff. Everyone pays. The rules apply to all of us. Even God incarnate in the form of the Christ didn't jump off the tower wall. Why? Because he said, in this flesh, gravity and physics apply. And it's going to be a bloody mess at the bottom. Oh, well, he can send a legion of angels down. How many people that's their church thing every day? We got a prayer offering going up for this idiot who keeps buying donuts. You guys, come on. You guys, come on. Some churches sell it in their foyer. Like half your freaking audience is diabetic and you're selling mochas and donuts. Like, geez, let's go to an AA meeting and set up a cocktail bar in the back. Like, how insane is this? But that's where we are as a culture. We're acting insane. Like children. Like little children. All right? Bad fat ratios. Okay. Anybody here ever heard of the term omega-3 fats? Omega fats. Okay. I'm going to demystify this a little bit. When you've seen molecular drawings where it's like a C and an H and some lines and what have you. All the omega means is where the hydrocarbon is on that chain. If it's in the 3rd position, it's an omega-3. If it's in the 6th position, it's an omega-6. So don't get caught up in the name. You could call it Phil, you could call it George. For practical purposes, it doesn't really matter. Okay? But we do need to understand this, and here's why we need to understand this. What is this fellow doing in this picture?
Chemicals. Creating a backpack.
Exactly. He's creating a back burn. It's a controlled burn. Is that a good idea? Yeah, absolutely. Proper forest management keeps us from, we don't do it here in California. This is from the South. They do it back east. Right? Go figure, right? So here's the dealios, right? Can you see, though, that even this good thing, that if I had more fuel than I needed, that my inflammation system had to torch more than really it should because of my own folly, that this could readily become a Homer Simpson moment. Right? Relax, it's a controlled, Right? Right? So what you want to understand is this guy right here is omega-6. If we have too much omega-6, we're Homer. Don't be a Homer. Donuts. Right? Don't be a Homer. Right? We need these guys. And then omega-3s, keep it under control and put it out when it's done its job. So do we need these in ratio? Absolutely, absolutely. Because if we have these out of ratio, then what happens is our omega-6 fats torch the enemy and eliminate the damaged tissue. Do we need that? Yeah, we want to kill cancer, we want to kill COVID, we want to kill mono, we want to kill whatever, right? We want to kill this year's flu, we want to kill those things, right? And if we damage tissue, we want it to debride. We want the white blood cells to come in and get rid of all that so we don't have festering, dead, decaying tissue in our body. Yeah? So we want that. That's good. That's a good thing. But if we didn't have enough omega-3s, is that going to work out well? No. And that's what people really are suffering, is they're suffering inflammation out of control. Your body's not doing its natural thing of modulating it. Right? So if you've got chronic aches and pains and you're not addressing this, good luck. Good luck. Because you can't cheat what God called very good. You can't cheat it. Now, you could supplement and that would help. But if you keep consuming this out of ratio with this, is that going to work out? Nope. So the best thing to do is stop drilling holes in the boat, then patch the leaks. And then 3 times a year, do a purification process to bail the boat. And if you keep doing this system over the course of a couple of years, you stop thinking of it as a diet, because everybody in this room is on a diet right now. The question is, how's it working for you? Well, I read it in a book. Will probably work for a bunch of people. Clearly ain't working for you, or you're not following the direction. Well, I kind of cheat. Well, you kind of cheat on a math test. What grade do you get? Kind of an F, kind of an F. Yeah, all right. Okay, And I want to go in this in hyper detail, but I want to give you some details so you start wrapping your heads around how you might be able to solve some of this problem on your own. Okay? Sound like a good plan? All right, so what we're talking about is the ratio. We want a good ratio. Now, medicine says a 4-to-1, right? So medicine says, at least a 4-to-1. The problem with that is a 4-to-1, 4-to-1 omega-6s to omega-3s. The problem with that 4-to-1 ratio is it's the bare-ass minimum, right? So it's like your RDA, the recommended daily allowance of this or that. That's not necessarily optimum. It's like when you get your vitamin D levels back on your test. They want 24 milliliters per, no, what is it? 24, yeah, I think it's milliliters. So anyway, 24 is their number. I forget what the formula was. But optimum is like 70. Right? So if you're below 24, yeah, you're in a crisis. So they say that's like the bare-ass minimum for survival. The hard part is that doesn't help you when you have emotional stress, physical stress, right? You're confronting some other previously unknown virus. You're on the edge, right? You're ready to tip. So what we really want to do is we want to get it up in here at least a 1-to-1 ratio, ideally maybe more. Okay? And there's some debate about this, but definitely trying to push more towards a 1-to-1 ratio is going to be better. By the way, you know how powerful this is? If you're taking blood thinners, your doctor will tell you for sure don't take omega-3 fatty acid supplements. That's how good it is at breaking down inflammation and stopping blood clotting and things like that. That's how good it works. So what I don't understand is why don't we go, hey Rose, I'm going to put you on a fish oil supplement, and I want you to take it religiously for the next 6 months, and then we're going to check your C-reactive protein. We're going to check all your inflammation markers, okay? You're going to do that for me, all right? And I'm going to get you on a very target-specific diet. We're going to eliminate all unnecessary omega-6 fatty acids from your diet during that 6 months as well. Okay? No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you Coumadin, which is the pharmaceutical version of Warfarin, which is what we use in rat poison.
Yeah.
Right. Like, to me, I'm just like, how the hell do we call that healthcare? It's not. It's disease management and death mitigation. It is money, but look, your surgeons, your medical doctors, your nurses get paid the same no matter what. You guys, they get paid the same. It's like teachers. They get paid the same no matter what. And they don't always have the control over the curriculum, eh? And they get paid, so it's not a money thing for them. It's like, yeah, it's their job, but they're not making more money by selling you more drugs. The hospital might, but they're not. So they're telling you because they believe it. They're telling you because they believe it. Like we deal with this when people go, I go to the joint. Would they ever take x-rays on you? No. You'd let somebody, you're paranoid about damaging your spine and your spinal cord, but you'll let somebody crank on you without even knowing what they're dealing with? That's an interesting way to live life. Well, my insurance doesn't pay for it. Why do you think that is? You know what I mean? It's like, just ask the questions, why do you think that is? You know? Like, why wouldn't they do the test? Right. All right. So here's the types of things that are high in omega-6. You can't get higher than things like canola oil, Wesson oil, safflower oil, cooking oils. High omega-6. Almost pure omega-6 fat. Guess what? When you're eating baked goods, what did they use in those baked goods? Omega-6 fats. So whether you're drinking it from the bottle, or you're putting it in your food, or you're cooking with it, and now you've got omega-6 fats that are partially trans fats, partially AGEs, right? Partially hydrogenated, right? You see where this is going? No bueno. No wonder people are way wacky out of ratio, and they all have so much inflammation. Okay? Also, your sources of meat. If they were raised, if we bought our Harris Ranch beef, ooh, it's so good, man. Yeah, they fed it sugar. Yeah. Corn. They loaded up on corn. That's why they have to kill cows at 18 months, because if they didn't, the tumors and disease in them from being diabetic cows would be through the roof. There you go. Yeah, I know it's true. It's crazy, right? So where do we get our meat? We get our beef from a natural rancher, a.g.e.s beef. We've been buying beef from them forever. They're totally awesome. Absolutely love their family. We get our fish. When I don't catch it myself out of the ocean, we go through Little Fish Company. They go to every single one of the farmers markets. And the fish is all caught within that week. Fresh. Sometimes, like during Dungeness season, we're getting big old Dungeness that literally came off the boat that morning. Okay? So we're blessed here. That might not be true in Mississippi. That might not be true in Kansas. Right? That might not be true in Idaho. But we're blessed here. There's no excuse not to eat healthy. There's no excuse not to eat healthy here in Cali. All right? People go, money. I'm like, hey, that's a value thing, man. Like if you value your Netflix subscription and your mochas more than like the cells of your body, you've got deeper issues than I'm prepared to contend with. Right? I mean, I know that's a blunt way to put it, but hey, you know, probably be worthwhile to go deal with some of your PTSD stuff that's keeping you in bondage. Right? Now, I don't say that jokingly, you guys. Psychological profiles on women is most women carry extra weight because they were sexually abused in their past. That's a tragedy. That's a frogging tragedy. Because they carry this PTSD, and the way that they can contend with it is try to not be quite so attractive so that they're not attracting these predatory males, right? That's tragic. Okay, so we need to help these people out of that mess. Starts by getting better foods. You can also get it through nuts and seeds and what have you, okay? But in order for us to use the nuts and seeds, the body has to use certain enzymes to get it in the form that we both most need. Whereas animals have already done this. So if you're getting clean animals, non-polluted, no pesticides, no herbicides, no antibiotics, right? Eating their natural God-given foods, not cheap grain, right? That fattens them up in a hurry and turns them into diabetic cows, chickens, and pigs, right? But we benefit from these as well. But do know, even our healthy nuts have odd ratios. For example, pumpkin seeds, 125 to 1, omega-6 to 3. Very good for certain things like prostate and stuff like that. Very good for that. Very nutritious. But you don't want to garf on these, right? Right? Walnuts, on the other hand, are a 4 to 1. A 4 to 1 is about as good as you're going to get in red meats that are raised naturally. You'll get better than that if you're buying cold water fish. Cold water fish, why? Because they need omega-3s so they don't freeze in the Arctic. How does a fish not freeze? It's freaking frozen water. Why don't they freeze? That's why. Seals, same. Thick, heavy, thick omega-3s. Whales, thick, heavy omega-3s. Right, to the degree that people that eat this on all the time without introducing the Western diet have really good cardiovascular profiles. But as soon as you throw the Western diet on top of it, they crash horribly. Native American Indians, Inuits up north, what have you, start giving them Okinawan Japanese, you start giving them the Western diet, and it like hits them harder. Like it hits them harder. Okay? So do know that there are ratios. Once again, you guys, you can get this stuff online. I can give you lists. You'll probably lose it. Just when you're ready, just start with simple. Start with some healthy nuts and seeds, and don't worry about this so much in the beginning. But then you are going to want to graduate, right? You are going to want to move forward. Okay.